well, there's going to be a girl one day. Why wouldn't it be you?
Hmm.
And I was like,
Wow.
wow, coming from him. There
Yeah.
was only three things actually I knew at that time. First of all, Steve would not lie to me.
Hmm.
Second of all, I trusted that he knows what it takes to get there and he would not lie to me. And the third thing was I did not have the confidence, but I knew that I could borrow his.
Ah.
Ho, ho, ho!
Hey, Santa, before you get too carried away, we need to talk.
Yeah, because while you're up there with the cookies, moms are the ones making sure the magic actually happens.
And let's be honest, who does all the work and who gets all the credit?
This year, it's time for a little more for mom. We're hosting the More for Mom Summit, a free online event designed to help you ditch the stress and keep the joy of the season.
Think of it as your 4-day reset. Practical tools, heart-centered support, and a community of moms who get it.
Grab your free ticket at moreformomsummit.com because this year, mom gets to enjoy the magic too.
Ho, ho, ho. We'll see you there. Welcome, everyone. I am so beyond excited and thrilled to introduce to you today's guest. She is somebody who embodies what it means to rewrite the story of what is possible. And I love the title, Possibility Hacker. And that's just not a catchy title. What I love most about her is her journey started with these 3 words, why not me? And I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. But before we dive in, I wanted to remind you that Shelli's full presentation, along with 16 other incredible sessions, are going to be part of our More for Moms Summit Holiday Edition. And it's going to be happening November 12th to 14th. It's a free online event that is going to help moms reclaim their joy and confidence heading into the holidays. We'll be thinking about things like mind, body, soul, and smile. It is a free event, and we're super excited about it. Very excited about Shelli's presentation. She's going to be doing a talk on how following your curiosity will heal you and change your children's lives. And we hope to see you all there. Now, Shelli, I didn't dive too much into your story because I wanted you to tell it. And before anyone, like, we dive into anything, I was just saying to Shelli before we open up the conversation that she has a TED talk that, and like, inspired me so much last night. I was laying in bed. I was so happy, like, yeah, anything in life is possible. I felt so much energy from watching your presentation, and I'm excited to hear more about your story. But can you take us back to what life looked like before your journey started?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for the beautiful intro.
Oh, no.
On the summit, I'm going to be talking about how following your curiosity can change your life and also change your children's life. So today, what I'm going to talk about a little bit is my backstory, how I went on to do those things, and how it was actually my mom modeling the things I'm going to talk about in the summit that made all of these things possible for me. So growing up, I was a bullied, introverted, nerdy, deep thinking kid, never fit in. My family moved a number of times. We moved again and again and again. And wherever we moved, I was always the kid that was getting beaten up and berated, and it was awful. And so, like when you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old and everybody's telling you you're ugly and you're stupid and you don't matter, it's heartbreaking, but also there is this piece of you that thinks as a kid, well, everybody can't be wrong. Like it's not possible for everybody to be wrong. So I started feeling that way and thinking that way about myself. But what I did to sort of save myself and cope in a way is I developed this incredible imagination, and I literally used it to get through day after day after day. And I would picture myself in these incredible positions, like I would be on the Canadian versus US gold medal hockey team, and it's the shootout and it's a final goal, and I make the goal and save or I would be on a drum riser out in front of the crowd. And
Yeah.
literally, it sounds silly, but that is how I managed to get through each day. But
That's
the
amazing.
interesting part now, looking back now, is that I would actually allow myself to feel what that felt like.
Yeah.
And for all of those hippy dippy folks, I came to learn much later that's called vibrational alignment.
Oh.
So I was somebody who was definitely an artist. I would write poetry and all kinds of writing and drawing and painting and special effects makeup. But as I went through high school, everybody kind of had their lives planned out, like they knew what they were going to do. And in their families, like there were very strict rules, right? But my mom was very free thinking. Like she came from nothing, and she had this idea to start a nail business, a manicure salon. And she turned it single-handedly with no education. I think my mom has like a grade 7 education, into a multi-million-dollar
Wow.
empire. But she did it just because she's like, okay, eye on the prize. We're going there. We're only going always and only there. And so I watched her do that. But at the end of high school, I'm trying to figure out, like, what's my thing. I don't really see special effects makeup as a secure career. It's kind of feast or famine. Sometimes you're on a film and then you don't work for who knows how long. So there was something about that that kept giving me a knot in my stomach. And I thought, well, that's not a career for me.
Mm.
And so I was feeling sorry for myself, as one does. And around the same time, a family friend named Steve was going through this horrible divorce and fighting for custody of his daughter. And our mums were best friends.
Yeah.
So I would go over every second weekend when he had to give his daughter back, and I had nothing to do. Like, I'm trying to avoid thinking about my own life and how pathetic it is. And so I would just go there, and I just get him talking about whatever I could. And I didn't know him that well to start with.
Yeah.
Even though our mums were good friends, I didn't see him that often, but we developed this friendship very, very quickly. And I realized the one thing that he could talk about forever was his career as a firefighter. And I remember him telling me about these fires and rescues. I'm like, dude, that's your job? Like, that's what you get to do? And I was just enthralled. And he told me all about it. And I felt this sort of excitement and passion that I hadn't felt in a very, very long time, perhaps if ever. And so
Mm.
I kept coming back to his house day after week after month. And something super magical happened because he ran out of stories. And so he started teaching me stuff, because there I was, just showing up at his house every single time. But what I realized that I would have never known otherwise is I had this natural mechanical aptitude.
Mm.
And so I've been on the job 32 years ago. I started applying 3.5 years prior to that. So we're talking like 35 years ago. At the time, I'm working in my mom's nail salon. I weigh 108 pounds. And so I'm driving with Steve in his pickup truck, and we drive up next to this tractor trailer, and on the back of it is one of those dangerous goods placards, right? But inside me, Shelli is still shy, no confidence, feel like the bullied kid. But I saw that placard and I thought, I know exactly what that means, but I didn't have the courage or the confidence to say it. So
Yeah.
instead I asked him. And that is something also as women we do a lot. We ask permission to be right. So
Mhm.
I asked, and at this point, he is genuinely sick of my questions, to his defense. Fair. But he kind of only half-assed looked at it, and he gave me the wrong answer. And I said, I don't think it's that. I think it's actually this. So then he takes a better look and realizes he was wrong. And he looks me square in the eye and he's like, Shelli, why don't you just apply for the fire department? And again, this is 35 years ago. There are no girls. There's none.
Yeah.
And if there was one, she certainly would not look like me. She wouldn't be 108 pounds working in a manicure salon. He says, why don't you just apply? And I was like, dude, like, look at me. I am 108 pounds soaking wet. I don't have any skills, knowledge, experience. I'm not big enough, brave enough, smart enough, strong enough. And there are no girls in firefighting. And this is a person who I had grown to just trust, respect, idolize. And without missing a beat, he looks me square in the eye and says, well, there's going to be a girl one day. Why wouldn't it be you?
Hmm.
And I was like,
Wow.
wow, coming from him.
Yeah.
There was only three things actually I knew at that time. First of all, Steve would not lie to me.
Hmm.
Second of all, I trusted that he knows what it takes to get there and he would not lie to me. And the third thing was I did not have the confidence, but I knew that I could borrow his.
Ah. Today's word of the day is calm.
And so it didn't truly hit me until that evening when I went home, and I'd been thinking about it all day long. And I don't know if you've ever gone for a drive and then you're kind of not really paying attention, and then you arrive where you intended to go and you're like, I don't remember getting here.
Yeah.
My whole day was like that. So I was in a daze, and I remember looking up at my ceiling in my bedroom, and it was this white stippled ceiling. For whatever reason, I don't know why that sticks out, aside from the fact that the next three words I said changed literally the rest of my life. I look up at this white stippled ceiling and I heard myself say, why not me? And then it was like a switch. And in that moment, it didn't care what it cost, blood, sweat, money, time, tears, like, let's freaking go. And so I had no concept of what it was going to take to become a firefighter. Admittedly, I was wildly naive. I thought, oh yeah, I'll do the physical and I'll take a couple courses and maybe I'll be on Steve's truck. That's not how that goes. Most people who apply don't get hired.
Yeah.
So I went and I tried the firefighter physical because I walk in and I'm like, all cool Joe Glide. And I'm like, I'm a 10-kilometer a day runner. Like, it'll be tough, but I'll be fine. I was not fine.
Oh no.
I got my ass handed to me and I walked out of that physical, like feeling helpless, hopeless, lack of dignity. I lost my purpose, my excitement, everything that I'm like, this is it. This is my thing. And I realized I was going to have to let it go because there was no way my tiny little body was going to be able to handle the arduous task of doing that job.
Mm.
And so I went home and I cried my eyes out for 3 days. And then again, in that same bedroom, looking at that same ceiling, something snapped again. And then I got mad. So I called the university back where they host the firefighter physical. And I said, yeah, I'm going to need the stats for the entire physical: heights, weights, distance of everything that needs to be pushed, pulled, lifted, all of it. And I built the physical in my backyard.
Wow.
And so I failed at that physical day after day after day. There was no part of it that I could do. There was blood and sweat and tears and puke, and it was awful.
Yeah.
But a couple hundred days later, I could do one component of it. It wasn't pretty to watch. It wasn't for time. There was like bloody hands, and I'd need to vomit when I was done, but I could do one piece of it. And then a couple hundred days later, I could do the other pieces of it. And then at one point I could do all of it together, not for time, not to pass, but I could do it. And I knew that if I could do it, I just needed to do it faster. All the while, I'm going to school to learn first aid, CPR, truck driving, high angle rescue, building construction, fire science, all of that kind of stuff. And 1,162 days later, my phone rang, welcoming me aboard as my city's first female firefighter.
No way. Oh my gosh. Oh.
But the reason that's relevant is not, hey, Shelli did a cool thing. The origin of my belief was watching my mother model for me
Yes.
things that seemingly had no way, no hope. She had no education, no money, no backing. And to this day, my mother's like, she's the best person to pitch an outrageous idea to, because oftentimes I'll say, Ma, I have an idea. And she's like, that's a great idea. I'm like, you haven't idea yet. But she's 83 and she is like balls to the wall. She is all in on trying. And the failure is never if it doesn't work out. The failure is if you don't try. And so all
Wow.
of these things that I've been able to do, and there are many, many other kind of cool or interesting things that I've gone on to do is all because I watched my mother and
Oh,
I watched her model what possibility looks like and kind of reframing what failure isn't and
yeah.
what failure is and just normalizing following your curiosity because what I noticed from my peers, all of those kids in high school that had their lives all figured out, the thing that was different from them to me was their entire lives were prescripted, and many of them I still know, and none of them are happy. None
Mm,
of them are using what they went to school for, and the couple that are wish they hadn't, but
oh,
they're too deep now into it to change, and I always am curious, like, I wonder what it would have looked like if their parents normalized, "Yeah, like, let's try that, like, this could go horribly wrong, like, and that'll be amazing too."
yeah.
Because that literally has been the mantra of, my entire life. I've gone on to do, I produced a firefighter calendar. I ran a junior female firefighter boot camp. I host a podcast and now I teach and talk about story and possibility because the story we tell ourselves about what is possible literally dictates what we will or will not be able to manifest in the world. And when I say manifest, I don't mean airy fairy sitting in the lotus position, wait till it comes to you. Like there's some elbow grease involved. But
Mm,
for me, it follows the concept of believe, belong, become. And we are always changing into something. We are always becoming something. The thing that most people don't realize is that we're usually just becoming more of what we already are. And if
wow.
you're not seeing those changes, and if for your kids and for their future and for their happiness, if they're not seeing the changes, it's just, you know, a, a loving reminder that you can become anything. We are changing all the time. And if you believe something is possible, you will act as if. And then if you have a place to belong, like your community, where it's like people like us do things like this,
Yeah.
then literally the sky's the limit. And it's just so good for your mental health, for your well-being. You try out things just following your curiosity here and there. What it actually does is build that muscle of adventure and bravery. It might be something as simple as, you know what, I've always wanted to learn to crochet. And you've got 15 minutes while the baby's down, so you learn to crochet. But
Yeah.
some of the most magical experiences I've had in my life that have led me to the person who's been able to do some of these things was as a result of trying something that from the outside looking in seemingly had no purpose. And I learned something or met somebody or just created a vast network of knowledge and experiences. And now it pains me more to not try something. It doesn't matter if it's big, it doesn't matter if it's small. Like my latest thing, I wanna learn to give, men's haircuts, they use the clippers, the fade.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have no idea why, I don't know why, but I wanna learn how to do a fade, so that's kinda
Oh,
gonna be my
wow.
thing. Absolutely irrelevant and no purpose to it whatsoever, but there is always your body never lies, and if there's something you're interested in or excited about, there's a reason you're supposed to do it, and it doesn't necessarily need to make sense to your logical brain. It is so good for your soul, and even more importantly, it's good for your kids to be able to see you do that, because I know, you guys say all the time, your kids will not treat you how you treat them, your kids will treat you how you treat yourself.
Yes. That is, Shauna says that to me all the time. And I'm like, yes, you're right. Wow. What an incredible person your mother is. And now I know, like, after watching your TED Talk and how you're so inspiring, your mom just sounds so amazing. And I know, like, listening to you, I'm like, yeah, I want to be that kind of mom for my daughter to inspire her and to make her feel like whatever you want to do, you can totally do it. You just have to believe it first. Um,
Mm.
and so if someone was to walk away remembering only one thing from your story, what do you hope it would be?
That your body never lies, and
Uh,
the answer is yes. If your body taps you, and it's just like a tweak or an interest or a give
uh,
yourself the gift of tapping into that and following that. It can be for 10 minutes a day, it can be just to try it for the sake of trying it,
that is
but you
amazing.
you never know where that's going to lead, and it's always somewhere, bigger than you expect. There is a synergistic effect. Synergistic effect is something we talk about in firefighting. When chemical A mixes with chemical B, it creates a completely different chemical that is greater than the sum of its parts. And that's what happens when you follow your curiosity. It creates this synergistic effect inside you about what you believe is possible for your confidence, for your sense of self-worth, for your adventure, for when it really does count, you're comfortable saying yes and following your gut. So that would absolutely be my encouragement to everybody, is to just listen to what excites you and don't dismiss it, because we're trained to do that.
Yes. Oh man, you're so brilliant, Shelli. I'm so honored that I got to talk with you today. And if people want to follow you more and get, where can they follow you?
I am everywhere online at Shelli Varela, and that's Shelli, and the last name is Varela. And hopefully we'll see everybody at the summit. We're going to talk more about curiosity and how that works, and how it will change your kids' trajectory.
Oh my gosh. And I know I am definitely going to be tuning in to your presentation. Shelli, I can't even I feel blessed that I got to talk to you today. I'm so motivated and excited for life. Thank you so much. You're such a breath of fresh air. Yeah, I really appreciate your time.
My absolute pleasure. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye, Shelli.
Bye.
The holiday's magical. The food, the friends,
Yeah, hey Dave, before you start selling us on the joy of the season, me and the moms, we're taking a break.
Because let's be honest, if you're dreading instead of dreaming about the holidays, you're not alone.
And this year, it's time to do something more for mom before things get into the full swing.
The More for Mom Summit is your reset to swap stress for sanity and pressure for peace.
Join us free at moreformomsummit.com and make this a season you actually enjoy.